All right, we're going to start with our test review starting on number 21. It asks you to find the slope and the y-intercept. Well, one thing, remember the slope is delta y over delta x. So right here it's -4, -2, and -6. Some people say, well, I can't do anything with it because those aren't the same. Well, that's not the truth. You have to do delta x plus 2 plus 1 plus 3. So right here we have -4. Remember, it's delta y over delta x. -4 over 2 is -2. -2 over 1 is -2. -6 divided by 3, -2. That's my slope, -2. Now, my y-intercept, remember, it's 0 and the number. Well, that's already right here in my table. There's my y-intercept. I don't have to do anything. It's 0, 4. If they asked you to write the equation, it would have been y equals -2x plus 4. And it says to fill in the blank. When x is 6, what is y? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go to our handy-dandy calculator. Oop, come on back. Go to y equals. Put in there -2x plus 4. And you should be doing this anyway and going to the table to make sure these points are in there. -3, 8. Oh, sorry, -2, 8. Yep. 0, 4, 1, 2. And it said 4, -4. And then they asked you for 6 and what was the y number, and that's -8. So you should have had 6, -8. On the next one, the slope, delta y, the change in y, plus 1, plus 3, plus 2. Delta x, plus 1, plus 3, plus 2. Delta y over delta x, 1 over 1 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That's my slope. My y-intercept, here it is. It's already in the table. 0, 7. Now, if I wrote the equation, y equals, I could have 1x plus 7, or I could have written it as y equals x plus 7. Now I have to go into the calculator to find my answer for that other one. Oops, let's see here. So I'm going to go to y equals and put in there x plus 7. Second graph. And you need to double check and make sure these points that are right here on your paper are in your table to make sure that you have the right equation. So now we're trying to find out where y is 1. And it looks like I'm going to have to go backwards to find y is 1. Y is 1, x is -6. So I should have -6. On C, again, delta y, the change in y, plus 10, plus 15, plus 10. Delta x, plus 2, plus 3, plus 2. Delta y over delta x, 10 divided by 2 is 5. 15 divided by 3 is 5. That's my slope. My y-intercept, it doesn't give it to me anywhere in this table. It doesn't have 0 and some number. So I'm going to need to find it out. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, give myself some room to work. I put my point. I'll use 1 and 14. It doesn't matter which one you use. And my slope is 5. So I'm going to put my slope times my x. So I take it times 1. Now, 5 times 1 is 5. What do you have to add or subtract to 5 to get to 14? plus 9. That is your y-intercept. So it's 0, 9. My equation, I believe, is y equals 5x plus 9. And after you found that, you should have pressed second graph and gone to look in here to make sure that these points are on your table in your calculator. All right, number 22. It wants us, we have to put this in our calculator. So let's pull that bad boy up. And let me clear the memory. Second, oh, there we go. Second plus sign, 712. To clear your memory, I'm going to go to Stat and Enter. And I'm going to put my points into L1 and L2. $20, $23, $25, $30, $30, and arrow over to Y or L2. Oops, I didn't press enter. There we go. All right, so then I put in there 40, 32.5, 30.5, 27, 18, 17.6, 11, and 14. Remember, you want to make sure you have the same amount of points in L1 and L2, because if you don't, it's going to tell you there's an error. Remember, after you put them into L1 and L2, we have to turn our stat plot on. See up here above y equals where it says stat plot. So I'm going to press second and y equals. And I'm going to press enter, enter, because now the on needs to be highlighted. Now, to make a good window setting, go to Zoom and press 9, and it will zoom in and make it a nice graph for you. Now, what kind of correlation is this? From left to right, it is going down, so it is negative. So let's see here. So I'll write negative. Now, it already gives us a bunch of equations. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to y equals. I'm going to put in the first one, 36 minus 2x. And I'm going to press graph. That's way too low. The next one, I'll try 38 minus 0.5x and press graph. Yeah, that slants through the middle of it. That's still not very good. All right, so let's look at the other choices. Let's try 40 minus x. That's still too low. So let's see if hopefully 43 works. There we go. Yes, it does work. It goes through there. So now, this is your answer here. Now, it says, based on your trend equation, predict the y value associated with x being 35. So what we need to do is we need to look in our table, and we need to look and find where x is 35. Now, you can go in your table, second graph, and scroll down and keep pressing buttons till you get to be x is 35. Or a quick way is second window, type in 35, second graph, and there it takes you right to it. And it would be 8. So your answer would be 8. All right, number 23. It says some data was entered in the graphing calculator and it gave the equation 10x plus 30. What should you do to the trend line to make it better fit the data? Well, let me do something. Let me put another little line on here. It'll help us. Okay, the first one says decrease the slope. When you decrease the slope, you make something flatter. Oops. There we go. Is that, we got decrease the slope. Well, you know what? Actually, it's probably better to go through and fix the y-intercept first. It says decrease the y-intercept. That means to move your y-intercept down. That's not going the right way. What we need to do with our line is we need to move our y-intercept up. So we need to increase the y-intercept. So we need to look through. This says decrease, so that's not it. Decrease the slope, increase the y-intercept. Okay, that's good. Increase the y-intercept, that's good. Decrease, so I'm going to cross out D. I've got A and D that go away. Now I need to figure out what I need to do to my slope. My slope, I need to make it flatter. When you make something flatter, you are decreasing the slope. So your answer should have been B. B, not D. Oh. The next one, it says the graph of the plane's descent is graphed below. And which best represents the slope? Okay, now, you would have to, some people go through and they count the number of lines and then they tell me the lines. That's not what you should do. In this case, I find that I have a y-intercept of 0, 2,200. This is one of the ways you can do it. And another, and the x-intercept is 80 and 0. Now that I have this, I can do delta y over delta x. And what I did was I went down negative 2,200. That's delta y divided by delta x, which is up 80. So if I take negative 2,200 divided by 80, let's see. These cancel. So what is 220 divided by 8? 8. What is it? 27.5. Okay. So the closest we come to is 25 feet per second. When you don't get the exact answer? Well, that's true. But see the word about? That's going to tell you it's not exact, so you need to be careful. All right, number 5 says, use the table to the right to answer the questions. What is the equation of the line that represents the data? And then what is the x-intercept? Okay, to write the equation, remember I need the slope and I need the y-intercept. I see the y-intercept right here. 0, 4, there's that y-intercept. My slope, delta y plus 1, delta x plus 2. Delta y over delta x, 1 over 2. Be very careful. One of the biggest mistakes is people put 2 instead of 1/2. My equation should be y equals 1/2 x plus 4. And I'm telling you that on your test, you need to put this in the calculator into y equals, press second graph, and make sure you come up with those points. If not, you need to go back and fix it. The x-intercept is where you have a number in the x spot and a 0 in the y. Here it is already in my table right there. So it should be negative 8, 0. Remember, the y-intercept has a 0 and a number in the y. A 0 in the x and the numbers in the y. The x-intercept and the y-intercept always have zeros in it, yes. Okay. Number 26 says write a line parallel to the graph y equals negative 3x minus 5. What does it mean when two lines are parallel? They don't touch, yes, but what is true about their equations? They have the same slope. You need to make sure you know that and write it down. Your slope is negative 3. So you can write any equation that has negative 3x. Negative 3x plus 7, negative 3x minus 10, as long as it has a different y-intercept than your original problem. Now, perpendicular. When lines are perpendicular, it still has to do with the slope right here. It's the opposite and the reciprocal. So instead of positive, it becomes negative. And then you flip it over, and that's 2 over 1. So the new slope would be negative 2. So I can write any equation that has negative 2x. I could even write negative 2x plus 7. The only thing that matters with perpendicular is that the slopes are opposites and reciprocals. Number 28, it wants you to graph. You're going to have to graph on your test. I want you to remember y equals mx plus b. B means begin, or we try and remember it as begin. So I'm going to start at negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and put a dot. My m is going to tell me how to move. And 3/4. The top number tells me up or down. The bottom number is to the right. The top number, since it's positive, I'm going to go up 3, and 4 is to the right. So I'll start at my y-intercept and go up 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 3, to the left 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I can draw my line. Again, go in the calculator, put that in there into y equals, press graph, and make sure that you've graphed it correctly. 29, y equals mx plus b. Okay, b is begin, so I'm going to start at 0, 2, and put a dot. M is for move, and I've got negative 3. Now it needs to be a fraction, so I put it over 1. Negative 3 means to move down 3 and to the right 1. Down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. Down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. Down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. I can also go backwards and go up 1, 2, 3 to the left 1. Up 1, 2, 3 to the left 1. Number 30, y equals mx plus b. B, there's nothing written here, so what number is that? 0. If there's no number there, it's 0, 0. M is my slope. That is 1/3. It's positive, so I go up. My bottom number is always to the right. Starting at the y-intercept, up 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3. Up 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3. I can go down 1 and to the left, 1, 2, 3. Down 1 and to the left, 1, 2, 3. There's my line. Okay, number 31. You're supposed to compare these, and it says, how are these equations different? They're different. Their y-intercepts are different. And how are they alike? Their slopes are the same. You can also say that they have the same steepness. If I were to go and graph these because of that, what are these two lines? They're what graphically? They are parallel lines because they have the same slope and different y-intercepts. On number 32 on your paper, you're going to have to write the x and y axis are backwards. So right here, change on your number 32. The bottom should say number of sales. Isn't that right? Is this the last one? No? Oh, it's not it. Okay, never mind. It should say that on your, never mind. Yours is, it should be right. Okay. It gives you an equation. It says Mary works for a telemarketing sales firm. She earns $20 per sale she makes plus $10 for showing up for work. So it gives you the equation of what she earns. And it says to graph it. The 10 is my B. That's my beginning. So I'm going to start at 10 and put a dot. 20 is my slope. Well, that's 20 over 1. That doesn't mean to go up 20 lines. I'm going to go up 10, 20, and to the right 1 and put a dot. Up 10, 20 to the right, whoops, and put a dot. Up 10, 20 to the right, put a dot. Up 10, 20 over 1. Okay, so now I can draw my line. Well, actually, I wouldn't even draw a line. No, you should. Well, you have to figure out, but is this discrete or continuous? It's discrete because you're getting paid per each sale. So I'm going to leave it as dots. Now it says if Mary makes 15 sales in a day, how much will she earn? Well, you can do it one of two ways. I can go 20 times 15 plus 10, or I can go into the handy dandy calculator and put the equation in there, which is 20x plus 10, and press second graph. And I'm going to look and see, let's go to where x is 15. And it should be $310. Now it says suppose that Mary earns $20 per sale plus $25 for coming to work. What is the equation that represents the new situation? Y equals 20x plus 25. What did it change? It changed the y-intercept. So what did it do? It shifted the line up. 15 units. Now, he says, what does the y-intercept mean for the y-intercept is in the negatives. It doesn't have anything to do with this problem, so just cross that out. They shouldn't have put that on there. 33. Given the function y equals negative 2x plus 7, write a function that matches the description below. It needs to be parallel to this and a y-intercept of negative 3. Well, that makes it easy because I know that my m, my slope, if it's parallel, they're the same. So I know it's negative 2. B is my y-intercept. They're already telling me it's negative 3. So my equation becomes y equals negative 2x minus 3. Now this one messes a whole lot of people up. It says parallel and it gave you the equation. And passing through the point, 3, negative 2. Okay, we know that the slope is negative 2, but we do not know the y-intercept. This point is not the y-intercept. So you can do it two ways. I can go through here and I can make a table. And I can put my point in there, 3, negative 2. My slope is negative 2. And I'll take negative 2 times my x, which is 3. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. What do you have to add to negative 6 to get to negative 2? Plus 4. Negative 6 plus 4. Now, another way to do this is to graph 3, negative 2. And then work your slope. Your slope is negative 2 over 1, which would be down 2 to the right 1, but that's going away from your y-intercept. So you can go backwards. Up 2 to the left 1. Up 2 to the left 1. Up 2 to the left 1. Ding, 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 ding. And then you can find your y-intercept from the graph. Either way is okay. So your equation becomes y equals negative 2x plus 4. You cannot think that because they have a point right there that you can use one of those numbers. Now this is the one I was jumping the gun on right here. All right, make sure on yours that it says number of manicures and pedicures down here at the bottom and the balance is on the side. That makes a difference. Okay, so it says Jasmine received a $350 gift card to her favorite nail salon. She knows it usually costs $25 with tip to get a manicure and pedicure. Ooh, that's cheap. Okay. This situation is represented by the equation, where X is the number of manicures and pedicures and Y is the balance on the cart. What does the slope mean? You need to remember that it is Y per X. Well, that's right here is Y is the money. So it's the cost per manicure, pedicure. What does the y-intercept mean in this situation? Right here, it is 0 and 350. Well, what does it mean? This is the beginning balance on the card. Beginning balance on card. This will be, then it says, what does the x-intercept mean for the situation? The x-intercept right here is 14.0. This is saying that for 14 manicures and pedicures, there's no more left on the gift card. So this is when the gift card is used. So 14 manicures and pedicures, the gift card is gone. Is all used up.